This time I will talk about defending your position in a race. There are different techniques at your disposal. Some of them are quite obvious, other ones a little bit more subtle. But let's start from a single concept. If we take a corner in isolation, the thing that you want compared to an opposing car is the outside on the exit of the corner. Yep, the outside. Even when you defend or attack from the inside. The reason why people defend and attack on the inside is because there's less distance to travel on the inside, and more chances that on the exit you're the only car that can claim the full width of the track. A bad passing attempt is a move that focuses too much on the entrance and not on the exit. To show what I mean, I will show this passing attempt that I made on this guy on a grey Lexus. This is usually a great spot to overtake, but the problem is that I focused too much on the inside and I didn't focus on gaining enough speed to cover the outside line on the exit. This allowed the grey car to maintain the outside and to pass me back eventually. But let's go ahead to show exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's pretty much here that I realized that this move has failed, because it's still on my outside and I'm not focusing on getting speed. I still need to give him space, fortunately. And here, even though it seems like I gained the position, it's still on my outside and we will have more speed and it will pass me back in a second. The most common way to defend a position is to cover the inside line, but a common mistake that a lot of people are doing, and I still do from time to time, is to be a little bit too much on the inside. Remember that the tighter the entrance, the slower you need to go. This increases the chances that the opponent might overtake you on the next part of the track. You can clearly see here there's a bit of space between me and the other car, space that could have been used to get the entrance of the corner a little bit wider. All the space left there will translate in a speed loss on exit. The consequence is that the Lancer will not pass me, but it will close the gap even further after the corner. This will become even clearer later in this replay. Here is where I needed to brake just to avoid going to the gravel. From here, the Lancer will have a huge boost in speed compared to me, forcing me to be defending once again. Luckily I didn't make the same mistake twice, and the second move was a little bit wider. This is instead a good example on how you should defend on the inside. You will see here that I will take some sort of ambiguous line that is still technically on the inside, but it's also wide enough to approach the corner with a reasonable amount of speed. I'm starting to be defensive from here, but you will see later on that I will glaze towards the center, giving that ambiguous line that I was talking about previously. And here, as you can see, there's more than one car width on my inside, but it will be too difficult for my opponent to go there and hope that the move sticks. So he will stay on the outside and I will maintain the position eventually. That's it, job done. Sometimes it is just better to stick to the outside at the entrance of the corner, and that's the case for those corners where overtaking on the inside is very difficult. By the way, I made a video about judging whether or not a corner is a good place to overtake or not, so feel free to check that out. But let's come back to this example. You can see here there's this Aston Martin trying to make a move on the inside of this Atenza. The Atenza sticks to the outside line, and that's the right call, because the inside line of this corner loses so much speed that you could stick to the outside without being passed. And that's the crucial moment where the red car is still on the inside, but it can't push as hard as it would because, well, there's another car on his side. That's the moment where it becomes obvious that this move has failed. The Atenza not only retains the position, but increases the gap even further. Another reason why you will defend on the outside is when it helps you on the very next corner. This is an example where the black car should have defended on the outside, giving me the inside, to have more chances to maintain the position. As you can see here, we got a normal scenario where he's on the inside and I'm on the outside. It would be beneficial for him if this corner was taken in isolation, but you will see later on that's a right-hander straight after. So all of a sudden, I'm in the most advantageous position compared to him. Sometimes the other car has so much speed advantage that defending the inside will result in blocking. In that case you have no choice than defending on the outside, but you could use a subtle trick. This consists in trying to squeeze as much as possible the opponent to the inside, but without bumping and still leaving in space, then going back to the normal racing line. The objective is to let him take the corner as tight as possible, to increase the possibility of him taking the corner badly or with very low speed. The first step is here. I'm still on normal racing line, but I can see him gaining more advantage the time goes on. Then I'm trying to glaze towards the center a little bit, and you can clearly notice that in this case I'm not as wide as I used to be, and I'm trying to squeeze the Porsche as much as possible to the inside line. Compared to the position I had before, there's a lot of space on my left. From this moment on, I try to get to the normal racing line to have the widest entrance possible to the corner. And here is clearly the advantage, because the Porsche could have been right on my side and take a wider entrance as well. Unfortunately, this pass didn't work out as well, because due to the nature of the corner, this pass will still be possible on a tight entrance. The Porsche is gaining a position, but on the bright side I gain a speed advantage, so I'm still closer and I still got momentum. The last maneuver I want to talk about is the so-called switchback. This technique is useful when you're confident that the other car will have a wider exit. What you need to do is to concede the inside line to the attacking car, wait for the car to slip over, and overtake him back, going for the late apex. In theory, this car has already made an overtake on entrance, but I was really confident that it wouldn't make the boost stick, as it was going way too fast, and this corner is really easy to understeer. Here is the moment where I'm starting to attack the late apex, and in the same time, the grey car is slowing down on exit. Few seconds later, and I'm blazing past. I want to leave you with a little bit of a bonus clip, where I apply both the squeezing technique and the switchback. You can see here that I go in more towards the center, squeezing the Nissan a little bit more on the inside, and eventually I'll come back to the outside line. I have no intention to overtake any one of those guys, directly at least. I knew a disaster was going to happen, and that's exactly what happened. The Nissan takes out the Porsche, and not only defend the position, but I also gain one.